Hello everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, covering Season 61 5 vs 5 Grand Arena Championship Week 2. I am joined by my regular co-hosts, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, it was a pretty good week. Went 2-1, had 3 legitimate matchups, as you can see here. I had Arsenal, Cyrus, and then Falcon. Falcon I've only ever fought one at a time, and we'll be talking about it, but stuff went wrong that needed to not go wrong. So, yeah. But that's enough for me. How about you, Dagger? How was your week? I'll be shocked to hear the results. I'm sure of it.
Look, I'm going to quote our friend of, I'm going to quote the guy who loves Skittles, Marshawn Lynch. I am here so I don't get fined.
Very fair.
Also, I'd just like to point out, I did not spend a vault trying to get the Ahsoka L9. I just rolled it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I am not a bum.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. All right, TJ, how about you? How was your week?
That was pretty good, man. I went 2-1. I got caught out trying something, which was fine. But other than that, I learned good lesson from it. I don't know how to apply to week 3 because obviously what's going on with everything. But 2-1, I'll take my lumps, starting top 100 for round 3.
Very good, very good. Sasha Aisha, sir, how's the week?
Yeah, it was a fun one. I had multiple real matches. I went 2-1. I learned an important lesson, and that is don't try to set your defenses in the last few minutes before lock, particularly while on a conference call, because what I ended up doing was, I think, making a few defensive changes to a spreadsheet that somehow I managed to forget to actually put into game. But it was a match I probably would have lost anyway. So that's okay, and it gave me a chance to, experiment a little bit. So a good week overall, 2-1. Lessons learned.
Good stuff. Yep. Fatal, how about you? How'd it go? How's the plan unfolding for you?
Well, the season's kind of determined by a lack of a plan. 1 and 2, and the -2 was running into efficiency players, where the thing that's kind of annoying here is I was kind of just like, okay, I just got to get through the season, get to the new toys. But now it's like, okay, the new toys aren't too shiny, and actually the efficiency players both bled for like 40 or 50. That, like, normally, if you're an enterprising player, an efficiency player giving you 40 to 50 bandwidth is like free win, basically.
Yeah, that's quite a bit, yeah.
But I never bothered to do my homework on Great Mother's prep.
Can I just say congratulations to Fatal getting to pull 40 to 50 banners on an efficiency player? Bravo, sir, bravo.
Oh, well, the highlight for me was actually Trey like stonewalling someone, but I think they were just like fully fatigued. Actually, the history is out. I can probably double check. I bet Trey didn't get impressive holds, but it still looked funny all the same. Because so far this season, I never actually had to prep Great Brothers. I just like kind of ignored their existence and got away with it. Yeah, I know the numbers for Night Trooper and SLK now. I've like caught up.
Also, we're just biding time till we get back to real Swuggo, which is unfortunately 33.
That's right. Tell him, Fatal. Tell him where it's really at.
No, that's
5
right.
is
I'm
dead.
here.
Long
I'm
live
here.
threes.
I'm here for the redemption of 3v3. Long have I advocated for it being perfectly just as good as 5 vs 5, and now, only now, is the vintage ripe for that wine.
Nah, 3v3 still shit. It's just...
Speaking of wine.
It's like the coffee beans that are made out of dung, and you're like, on principle,
The
this is like
Kopi Luau of Swugga.
Look, I'm going to be honest. 3v3 is still AIDS, but it's better than 5v5 right now.
It lets you play the video game and do fun and cool stuff and largely get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on
care
the
about
Fatal
that
train.
last phrase, the get away with it part.
Anyway, yeah, sorry to close it up. Yeah, well, 1 and 2, yeah, my rank is like, I looked at the leaderboard, it was like 390. I'm like, okay, I probably should like play the video game correctly and like stop looking around as much.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
You'll probably have a solid
There is
week,
a little
too.
bit of shame being outside of the top 200.
Not really. Actually, the irony is I get to fight people from Gauntlet guilds now that I'm ranked 300 instead of 200.
No, Dagger knows. Dagger knows exactly who he is to be questioning
I was
your
gonna say,
position.
Dagger doesn't have anything to say.
That's right.
He
Yeah,
Look,
that was
people
done with
teams.
the. I feel like that was reasonably
You
self-aware.
guys, I need to take it. It was not my choice to be in Bronzium. And oh Lord, I'm a coming.
Look, sir,
We'll see.
you have contractual obligations by accepting. That's all I'm gonna
We'll
say.
see you in Kyber
Dagger.
1 sometime by
Look.
the up in the top of Kyber
Yeah.
1 sometime by the end of spring, early
2029
summer.
game is sunsetting. Dagger's finally here.
We'll be on the other side of snow before we'll see him around us. So
Look, when I get back up there, I'm gonna just smash the shit out of you.
that's
I'm
good.
Not talking about
That's
the
good. And everybody listening needs to remember this because here he is talking big shit.
We'll have to get there when we have the next presidential campaign.
What's actually going to happen is once I get back to Kyber 1, I won't be able to get away with doing like 2 attacks and calling it because I'll actually have to find time to clear them.
A whole new breed of excuses will be grown organically.
Look, I know what the game. I know what it is. You guys can make fun of me for the next like 3 months till I'm back in Kyber 1. Eat shit.
That's right.
I get it.
That's right.
That's right. Only for 3 months.
All right, let's get into the show.
The Kyber
Let's
1
get
thing,
into the agenda.
There's many other things. I understand.
Yeah, I know, buddy. I know.
Let's get into it. All right, meta-analysis, guys. So a couple things here. First, Rey Ezra. EP Starkiller and Seer Starkiller continue to work well. Are there any new counters you guys have found or any counters you've come to prefer?
I still think it's the same. Matt, the only other thing I added in, which is the Queen. Everything else is still just doing its thing. Just in 5, you just have too much to topple it over. There's just 3s, you're more limited, right? You're funneled on what you get to do. But in 5s, man, you have the power of Starkiller Kron. You have
Well, let me ask this a little more precisely. For which compositions of Rey do you feel EP Starkiller is insufficient, and the concentration with Malicos becomes, if not required, probably recommended?
If you
I'm
read
gonna go-
Mara Jade, there is.
I was gonna say, if you fatal it, which he said week in and week out, if you do the simple fatal swap,
if you do that thing,
I just don't
I
see.
think the only way you can hope to like get, and again, this always boils down to if you can get someone to Starkiller your Rey who's not super familiar with the fight. I think Cal and JTR are pretty solid 4th and 5th. But again, you're just banking on your opponent not knowing how to play the fight more than you're banking on that actually like standing up to Starkiller. The level 9 Starkiller has is kind of absurd. The amount of the speed in which you actually kill them is kind of absurd.
Fair.
I think there's something to be said for like speeding up your bend solo, and kind of like along the same lines as JTR is just like trying to get that TM removal early, trying to shake up how the fight plays. To like, if it's a less experienced player, push them out of their comfort zone and like asking, "Hey, do you know how to improv your way out of this?" And a lot of people don't.
How fast is fast to your thinking?
330.
Yeah, my bend's at like 330 now, but it's like it doesn't have to be.
What I like is the fact that we're at the time of the recording, we're at lock. So give away all the secrets, Fatal. It's okay. No worries on
That's
having
right.
to worry
Nothing
about the
will
changes
save them now.
Also, for a lot of people, well, for some number of people who listen to this show, this entire conversation is kind of moot because Ahsoka exists.
Yeah, and I think that's worth diving into. Then, if we look forward to a world with Ahsoka and 9 GLs, what does Rey do for defensive viability again? Or at least, I mean, even if it was just momentary, and the reality is with the Predator out there like Starkiller and his Scrawn, it wasn't real. But what do you guys think about Rey going forward?
I still think Fatal is exactly right with what he said. I think the majority of people fighting the Rey fight, when you change just one of the pieces of the mechanic, because it's a fluid fight, right? Regardless of whatever you're doing, it's still a fluid setup. So Fatal's calling it perfectly well, in my opinion. Change a couple things around. Can you handle the adjustment to the fight that it doesn't mess you up? I've seen it in every game facet that Rey can still mess with you if you don't know what you're doing.
While Starkiller Kron's going on, I think the chance of skimming people goes down. But like, I will probably be going back to what I was doing before Ezra hit, which is like actively trying to scam people, like looking into like Watt L3 type shit. Which is like, it's not good. Literally, all you have to do is use Starkiller Special 1 with buff immunity on L3, and it's just fucking done. But most people don't like know the kits that well to know, like, be able to see the puzzle and then solve it. That like sometimes that is just good enough.
Fair. All right. It'd be interesting if the game went back to a place where, more composite counters were needed. But that'll be a
luxury. I just think it's one of the luxuries of the Ray is that something can change in the middle of a fight, and can you make an adjustment in the middle of the fight? Other than, nope, still gotta press this. Oops, that messed up, and then it can get out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, we'll certainly be talking about GL Ahsoka today in some depth, but I do like that one call out in her kit that says, if Exile Ezra isn't there, so they have an extra 100% health and protection. Just really thinking that's such a nice carve out for 3 versus 3. So anyway, all right.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Ray in a vacuum is that Ray will continue to be just this random puzzle that you can catch some people out with, especially if they are entrenched in their consistency. For example, if they're going to Seer Malicos it, like, going forward, it's like, well, what happens if you just throw Cat on there? You know what I mean? Like, Ray is always just going to be one of those like teams where you can use it to throw a wrinkle, you can use it to burn a couple of banners or bleed a couple of banners. Mm-hmm. You can try to. It's almost always going to be like a top front or top or bottom front team, I think. But I think she's going to go back to being a minor puzzle piece that you can use to kind of catch somebody out. But I think Fatal hit the nail on the head. Ray's just one of those things that's a skill it's a skill check for the most part.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and we spoke here about not needing Malicos with Starkiller, but how about Starkiller on defense? Now, I haven't been doing any of it, but I know a couple of us were curious. Any teams that you've encountered, anything that you thought was going to work and then didn't work? Any ideas?
I could tell you mine, but like I said, it was just me not paying attention to the fifth piece of the puzzle, and then the answer was super easy. So I know Sasha said he did something funky, so that's funny if you want to talk about that, but I don't think it changes what I utilized at all to just pummel that counter right now, especially right now.
I threw out. Sorry, TJ.
No, go ahead. No, by all means, because like I said.
Yeah, so I'll mention what I set, and this was just sort of in the spirit of like I'm facing generally the same folks as against Aesop, regularly. So I'm like, all right, how do I keep it interesting for the poor guy? So I threw out. I wanted to leverage Starkiller. I'm like, all right, there's Starkiller, his comp that triggers his uniques. I've got Ezra, who's kind of fascinating to add in. So I ended up going with Savage lead, Starkiller, Malicos as the dark side Ufu, Cal Kestis as the light side Ufu. I figure most likely the opponent is going to try and burn down Starkiller first, so let's just get some Ufu survivability. And then the last, I put Ezra Exile in there for shits and giggles. And it did draw a C plus, I think, four tanks, and maybe it was C Watt and 3 tanks, and there was only C surviving. But yeah. So anyway, it was taken out by a GL. It was terribly over expensive. What is that? 10 Amis on that squad. But I figured, before Ezra has probably a better long-term home, why don't I just give it a shot and see how it works? So yeah.
Here's where I'm going to go for story time, where it's like I understand what was used and I went through the logic. Can you go to my round 3, go to the defense? Because it was I think my very first match it was. And you'll see. So round 3 for me.
Tell of this, yes.
All right, so he tried to get funky doing Darth Revan setup. Are you looking at round 3, Taz, for me? No, look for round 3 latest version. Because like I said, it's the very first fight. I failed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say it was a third.
No, go for the third round, buddy.
Third round. Okay, that's where I was.
Yeah, there you go.
Your first attack.
There we go. No,
okay.
There we go. So you'll look. So he put almost the same setup. Take Savage minus it. He did Darth Revan, and it was cool. So what happened with the Ezra and everybody else? So you see Maul. He's got some damage in there. He's got the Ezra. So they went out way in front of me and pummeled me. Gone. 45 seconds. My team was just obliterated. It's cool. It's like, all right. So what if I turn that? So if you go down a couple of spaces, and I think this would have done the same thing to you if we would have done it. How long did it take me? A minute and 15? No, I'm sorry, a minute and 6. I took Reva and literally just that team was dead water, and it would have been full banners. So it's like I know they took C, but sure, you can do things that can start it off, and the Ezra's cool and it is niche. But Reva getting to go in front, and you start, and then you don't stop. So as fast as they beat me, I was trying to ride back around on them. And it felt completely controlled, completely fine, not even close to having any problems.
All right. I mean, that's pretty solid. That's a great thought with that team. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else with experience fighting SK on defense this week? All right.
No, but like I said in the pre-show, man, there really feels like there's something there. I don't know if there is or not, but man, that level 9, when you read it, you're just like, man, there feels like there's something here.
I've dabbled with it in past seasons, but yeah, the response is usually just like, yep, set the Eternal.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that. Tast, you faced, I think, and you faced it with GG, right? Or something like that. It's like, it is phenomenal in practice of what it can do, but at the same time, it feels cheaply killed, no matter how you try to swing it.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I hadn't been using... I've been overkilling with Malgus. Okay, so if Malgus is defense, bottom front, tank, revive, Kron, for a lot of people, that's going to be C guaranteed. And especially if you're like me and you hadn't been setting Starkiller up to this point, there may be some merit in having him in the back then. I don't know.
Oh, I can tell you about Malgus too. Like I said, it was a great use of resources for my round 3. And then round 2, I got to use LV on Malgus. I get expensive, what do you want to call it? But normally with all the debuffs, you would think that it would hold out longer. Nope, perfect banners. And then I used BKM as the alternative solution because he didn't have an LV on the... Oh, no. He put a Treya LV for round 3, which is cool in the back because I was not ready for it. I was assuming it was LV or C or Treya, not both. But LV is just a moneymaker, and obviously LV just dies to BKM regardless of whatever you do. So me being able to use LV for something and good banners, funny enough, was nice. Other than that, BKM was destroying Malgus. Like, no, I don't care. Put bulk, put whatever. BKM is the moneymaker to kill it.
It's true. Have not had any version of Lord Vader that I've set stand up to BKM. Haven't had one that was set against me stand up to mine. Yeah, that's true. All right.
The one thing I will say is that unlike some other counters, the off counters to GLs, there is generally a reasonable banner tax against Bo. Like, I know when I do it, it's somewhere between, I lose between 3 and 7 banners, depending on the comp, the season, whatever. Rarely do I walk away with max banners.
Yeah, usually it's about 64. It's usually really strong for me, but
It also depends on your comp, their comp, and the currency.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on course here. Best attack and defense of the week. Dagger, why don't you sound us off? I'm sure you've got some fascinating tales.
Well, my best attack of the week is, we talked about that last night.
Oh yeah. Oh
Walking
man.
into
I mean, we
GLC.
can't. I'm not getting personal with you, but you know exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
real.
Inside joke. No. The best defense is basically like knowing I can do like one attack and be good because they're going to get Since I started my journey from Bronzium, the maximum any player has scored against me is 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good. Like that's the best defense is just the knowledge that I don't have to really do anything to win these fights.
All right. Very fair. TJ, how about you? Your favorite attack and defense of the week? I'll flip to
Favorite
you.
attack.
I'm on your page. Where you want to go?
Yeah, favorite attack for me was fun is the Gungans on Balin. Face two different setups. You can pick it. And realistically, there's not like a special thing that I would tell you. I put the 2% on. I took the team in. It wins. I've seen where there's variations of a loss, and I'm not sure why that is. But Gungans are getting pretty beat out. Obviously, but they have a stronger calling. I've seen it doing what killing Ray. I've seen it, but having an answer for Balin, which can be pretty strong, and Reva's not killing it. Well, Gungans are doing good work, and that felt like a great use. Defense is not going to matter anymore. I took a risk. So round 2 for me, what won me my round 2 was scouting. I set the full Leviathan. I that's what I called for it. As I scouted, did my homework, and looked, and it was Leviathan, full Leviathan. And at the time before the update, putting Reaper in the team can usually lead to you going first, and that's my win. He went and tried it. I saw the history of what he was going to do. I scouted, I set it up, and obviously that is no longer valid. It is gone, but that was my key defense.
Fair. Good one to cite. All right, Sasha Aisha, how about...
quick, I didn't. Is the scimitar changes in game?
Oh yeah.
I didn't see it on the kit. That's why I asked.
Oh yeah. Look for the reinforcement.
Oh, okay.
Here, you know what? I mean, it's an organic enough detour, and it's not going to take us but a moment to look at. Where is it? Where are you?
And from what I understand, because I've tried all sorts of ways, there is no way to get that scimitar to come in first. So
all right,
that's the other piece of the puzzle.
You said it was the reinforcement here?
Yep. The reinforcement ability.
All allies gain 25% crit chance until scimitar is defeated, doubled for Sith allies. All allies gain 15 speed, doubled for Sith allies for the rest of the battle, including the capital ship, and persists through defeat.
Yes, I had a 6-star Leviathan go from 70-something in my arena to 1 in a matter of minutes.
So what is the
6-star?
So here's the intelligent question then. Like what reinforcements would you be setting this with on defense? Because how is the AI priority changed?
It literally does not matter. I have tried every which way. They have it set up so that your scimitar will not come in no matter what you try to do. I've put in every form. I have tried swaps. I've tried changes. I've tried bringing in...
They literally did it on purpose because they gave the lowest priority reinforcement this to allow the player on offense to have the agency to win.
Yeah.
You say if you play this on manual, and I will tell you there is a turn setup. You can't go, and you basically need to blow up their reactor so they slow down with you. Time it out, even if they go first, it doesn't matter. Then you call in scimitar. It persists through death, so even if it dies, it's done. Like the Leviathan is literally dead in the water as far as any type of viable setup now. It's gone.
Okay. And if you don't think if you know your opponent's not going to set Leviathan, one thing you can do is then put Phantom Mark 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way around this. Is just set the 2 reinforcements of Phantom Mark 6, and then the mirror gets really dicey really quick, depending on who Mark 6 targets.
Yeah, sure. Ding dong, Leviathan is dead, is what they've done by this. To me, they overreached. I get they needed to do it, but it's like they went one way, and it was miserable to do the mirror, and then they went the other, and now 6 stars beat like 7 stars. I get, but your investment's dead. That was the only thing I laughed at, is like when I can watch a 6-star Leviathan with mediocre relics just be able to climb all of it. Anything you've done has been wasted now.
I'm with TJ. I find it highly obnoxious that you brought out Punishing One, and then instantly
Yes!
reactively like buffed
Yes!
Leviathan and made the
Yes!
mirrors just like super toxic. So then you
Yeah.
had to buff something else to
Yeah.
make the player be able to essentially just not auto hit the auto button win, but auto win on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just incredibly obnoxious how this game is becoming hard coded to win in the player's favor to win, because that's the only way you can win through the
Yeah.
RNG they've created.
I
I find that obnoxious.
It's just wow. I like the Punishing One. I thought that was a phenomenal ship. Don't get me wrong; they did it justice.
I didn't have a problem with it being. I didn't have a problem with it being the Apex fleet. You gave it a new toy. Why shouldn't it beat the Leviathan?
They gave it a lifter, and it felt like a lifter, and it was good. Either way, I don't want to detract, but it was like, but to your point, keeping it there, if you can't call it in, AI can't play with it. You don't get to use any tricks or toys. If you play it on manual, you auto win. That's simple now.
Okay. All right. Well, that was an excellent aside. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you indulging me on that. Back to Sasha. How about you? Your favorite attack and defense of the week? Where are you pointing me to?
Yeah, so I think for attack, it was where I had a chance to have just a little bit more fun, zero stakes, is the second match of the week. If you go down, it's against Gungans, and this was a pleasant surprise. I took just old school Phoenix, but I didn't have Kanan. The reason I didn't have Kanan is I used him with a Leia squad earlier, which was its own mistake. But it was like what I thought was kind of like an subpar Phoenix squad against an all R9 Gungans. And it was surprisingly smooth. Like you see 65 banners. It took some time. The Kron I had has a decent amount of armor pen on it, so I think that was helpful. And I probably was just lucky that Ezra, who I did bring, can ramp offense 40% for the entire squad over time. That probably ended up being a difference maker. He's not who I would have intended to bring in if I had all options available, but that gave it enough DPS to be able to kill the Gungans. But I'm really impressed with Phoenix's survivability and their ability to at least take out the shield really pretty effectively. And then it was just a matter of could I burn the Gungans down? So that was fun. Like again, not something I would have expected, and you kind of combine that with the prior segment and TJ mentioning he's able to use Gungans against a Balin squad, and it really kind of calls into question of maybe it's a matter of comps here, but is Balin better served in the moment moving to offense? So that's one. On defense, look at. I think it probably goes back to just that goofy Star Killer comp that I set. I happened to mention it earlier because we were touching on Star Killer, but just trying to find combos with that Star Killer and leveraging his unique, and that I felt like once in a rare opportunity to have Ezra as a reasonable free agent and throw him out there. So yeah, that I enjoyed. I tried to draw C out in the bottom front by setting Malgus, but to Aesop's credit, he was able to one-shot it with gas.
Yep,
so he took out, which left him with C. Because I would have absolutely loved, for multiple reasons, to have seen this like long line of different things he would have had to have tried against the Star Killer one. But no, it's just the one C data point. So yeah, those would be my two.
Very fair. Very fair. All right, Fatal, how about you? Your favorite attack and defense of the week?
Yeah, it was an interesting... I had my projects that I was rooting for on defense that, even though I was kind of aloof from, literally my match one, it was like, okay, I don't know if they can kill my Treya or not, or she's going to hold the line top, in front of ships. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna throw and just use my Night Sisters instead of using them on Great Mothers, so I can try some of the shit. I was trying Night Sisters against Jabba Dengar, and actually almost won. Just to see if I could. But yeah, for the most part, it was I think the cool fight was I got to try Herald lead Ezra because I had my suspicions that team was not good, and so
where is that? Which round?
Match one, I think I did.
Oh, yeah, I see.
One in match 2 or 3, but I overkilled it. But yeah, I got to use Grievous against the Spectres, and
Oh,
Yeah, that team's not
okay.
very good.
Yeah.
I mean, the best I can say is that Ezra heal block did lead to my Magna Guard eventually dying because of the locked heal block. But the caveat to that as well is my Magna Guard kind of ass. So I'm not too surprised that he died.
Fair. All right, that
But
is
yeah.
good to know. Yeah, so probably looking
mean-
at something like a 61 there if he had lived with just protection. Or sorry, with just healthful.
Yeah, but also we're just never going to see that team again, most likely. Well, if the people don't know Ahsoka, I guess. If you're running into like someone who just got their Ahsoka Rex ready, but aren't actually like owners yet, maybe.
Fair. Yes, it's going to be a pretty narrow 5 versus 5 experience this week for people actually having Ahsoka. So, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
And
What
then
else?
defensively, it was just like Balin continues to be kind of the barn burner focus.
Which round here? I'll jump them.
I don't know if I have any specific to highlight. Like round 3, I know he got a couple holds, but yeah, it's
Okay.
like
I've heard of
Bailing
people
is-
doing Bane, so it's interesting. What do you think about this? Well, they didn't mean to close it out. 58 seconds is suspiciously long, right? That's suspiciously long for a loss. So got through Sith Assassin, probably getting sacrificed or killed, and then I don't know because I've seen this working well for people.
Yeah. So this goes back to what we talked about the other day with TJ and I talked about the other day. He's missing the Yomi.
Oh, he's missing the third one.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Something like that matters a little
Yeah,
bit.
this I've tried
This is smidge.
twice. I've tried this a couple different times. I'm not a fan of this Riva thing, man. That's not.
You know what you do use?
It's not where it's
Gungans.
at. Yeah, apparently it's fricking Gungans.
Hey,
and when I
look
tell
at your
you,
round 3. Look
when
at
I
your
tell
round
you,
3. That's
that
what.
is embarrassing, man.
But it's not in the thought process that it's like, yeah, I should hold pretty well, but the high rate, and I'm like, all right. So I tried the variations and like Gungans, and it's like it's Riva easy. Does that kind of make sense when you say the fight? Like you would ask me, hey TJ, what would you do in the fight? Just bring Gungans.
And look at this. Speak of the devil, and it shall appear. Because as this guy's third attack on Fagel's Balin, he was able to clear it for what would have been a 65. Using you did it with set 18. He did it with set 17.
I did. I saw that. I saw the variations. I was like, I don't want to
Okay.
play with it depending on how well you're packed up, and so that's why I took the 18. Also had some pretty good stats for it, but it's like, yeah.
I said this last 5v5. Gungans are, I think, the new Malik, where people are just going to, or Malgus, where they're just going to leave them on
Malgus,
defense, even though the value of holding them is almost equal. And that value is going to tip here in a month or two, and people are still going to wait 5 months to pull it off until they, realize that, like Sasha said, Phoenix is beating it. Like, why are you trading your Gungans for their Phoenix when you can trade it for their Balin?
Very fair. All right. For my part, my favorite attack. Yeah, I had my spreadsheet up just for this. Something real. Oh, yeah. Round one. Versus
I appreciate
Arsenal.
the task was prepared.
Radis versus Nas. Yeah, hadn't done this before. Saw it in the data. Was interested in trying
another
it.
reason to hold Gungans.
Seriously, I think there's a very legitimate case to not run Gungans this week on defense, especially if you have been up to this point. So there's merit because this was, when I tell you this was dumb, guys. Like, I got up to Hope, obviously, very quickly, and we were a ways away yet from actually getting the shield generator down. It took some time, a little bit of taunt juggling action. Also, just terrible luck in having buff immunity get applied to anybody. But, we got up to Hope, blew Hope while the generator was down, just to see what would happen. I didn't think it was going to work. I just wanted to know if it did or didn't. And it didn't, for the record. And then I went on to, get the shield generator down and just beat the shit out of them. It took, as Sasha would say, it took some time. Almost, over 4 minutes to get the job done. But a 65, completely brain dead. So if I just pocketed Hope until I had the generator down, that was an easy wipe for 65. So yes, good to know that, and I'm glad we all have the same conclusion, because I won't be doing that. As far as defense goes, I think the best one would be in round 2 against Cyrus, just that this is why I like having my bounty hunter set up so that I'm fast enough to go after people's gases, because what won this for me is he used C on gas, which I thought he might do. And then he was put in a position elsewhere where he didn't have a good tool available for Savage here in the back. He had to try a few things. And C is risky. You can lose that. It's worse against Savage, particularly if there's a good bit of crit damage in the Kron. I have the better of the 2 Krons reserved for use with Bane. This one's only 16%. Maybe if I put that even higher, if I had this on defense this week, that's even more threatening to see. But if you don't really have C, or you don't have, I don't know, I want to say Lord Vader can do it. There's only a few things that are going to deal with this at all, let alone neatly. So I liked that. Just knowing that he would have so few options for gas, because gas I've been keeping most of the time. So that was the real buy, is just knowing where people are, or how they're going to have to deal with gas. Anyway, that's it for me. All right, next segment, guys. This one has been a little bit coming here, a few days now. It's time to talk about the kit reveal for Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. Huzzah, huzzah, celebrate. Okay, light side, tank, leader, Spectre, and unaligned Force user. Not going to read all this stuff. You guys saw that, I'm sure, already. But yeah, the Zeta Order recommendation, I know that cracked you up, Dagger. If you've been saving up to this point that you have all the requirements where this is even realistic for you, that you wouldn't have 6 Zetas available is kind of unlikely, but I appreciate them, being honest. All right.
At least they got
Fair.
to it. It only took them 10 GLs or whatever it is, and they finally give you a recommendation. So that, at least it's cool.
Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, I think that this explanation that they give here, just how they think about the design of the kit's pretty neat. But let's get into the kit here just in the interest of time. I want to start with the leadership. Where is that? You tuck it all the way. Oh, I must have missed it already. Leader, there it is. Okay, Commander of the Wayward, Zeta. Final text. Spectre allies have plus 30% defense, mastery, and offense. At the start of the battle, all other non-summoned Spectre allies that didn't already have it gain exile until the end of the battle, which can't be copied or dispelled, and they gain the granted ability Reunite. If there is an Ezra Bridger exile, he gains 25 stacks of Purgle Migration, just for existing. Okay. If there is not an ally Ezra Bridger exile, Spectre allies gain 100% max health and max protection. And like we were talking about a little earlier, I think this is mostly a carve out for 3 versus 3 so that you could perhaps keep your Rey, Ezra, Swolo, and still have a pretty respectable situation here for her. All right. Whenever an ally with Morai's Wisdom uses a special ability, Ahsoka gains 6% ultimate charge. Whenever an ally uses Reunite, Ahsoka gains 30% ultimate charge. Whenever Huyang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, Ahsoka gains 30% ultimate charge. Whenever a Spectre ally has a buff dispelled on them, they gain 10% turn meter and 5% mastery, stacking until the end of the battle. Whenever an enemy gains protection up, Spectre allies gain 15% offense, stacking, until the end of the battle. Whenever an enemy with less than 100% turn meter gains bonus turn meter, they take true damage, which can't be evaded. This damage can't defeat enemies. So, what are we talking about completely forbidding? That's doom for any type of protection up in a JML team. Doubly so, because it's turn meter based. JMK has protection up, and I haven't heard a lot about JMK doing much to be able to resist this team.
This is just a bunch of carve-outs, so Ahsoka smashes all the other GLs.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Yeah.
This leadership basically is they get a bunch of offense. If Ezra's not there, they get a bunch of health and protection. And then here's a bunch of caveats to why she beats every other GL.
Very fair.
or she slaps you with wet noodle lightsabers a whole bunch of times, but it looks pretty.
Hey. Look, I'm just saying the leadership is relatively simple. There's a lot of words that just
Dude.
say, I have a bunch of clauses that tell Jabba and all the other like Leia and all these other GLs to just go fuck themselves.
I'm just saying, it's like she's fighting with pool noodles, but to each their own.
All right, well, just wrapping up this leadership, it defines the reunite granted ability as remove exile from this character and another targeted ally, gain 25% mastery until the end of battle, and take a bonus turn. This ability is on a shared cooldown between allies who have reunite and is immune to cooldown manipulation. Okay, so this is what they mean when they say that you kind of get to decide the order in which you're removing exile from your guys. So that's important to know. All right.
You're just using Ezra to remove it from Sabine, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the entire team, then the entire team falls over.
Yes, in that order. Ezra, Sabine.
It's too early to say.
And then use his bonus turn to pass the turn back to Ahsoka to ult.
I guess, yeah. It's too soon to say in which circumstances it might make sense to break from that order, but yeah.
Sabine one-shot a JMK for me the other day, like full health protection and prod up. She just did her missile and she just disappeared.
Also correct.
900,000 damage.
Dagger is 100% correct on all accounts.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm just making a joke about this team does so much damage that the rest of the text of this team, the rest of the text of her kit is kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Sabine does damage.
Sabine deletes people. That's what she does. Ezra, phenomenal character, also helps delete people.
Ezra's better than she is.
Okay.
Oh, dude,
right.
GL.
Well,
Ezra,
let's get back in. We still got a bunch of stuff.
Sorry.
So let's keep it moving. No, it's all right. It's all right. The unique though, first unique, daughter of Mortis, Zeta. Final text. At the start of battle, Ahsoka gains Morai's wisdom until the end of the battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Ahsoka has 100% counter chance and is immune to damage immunity. Interesting. While Ahsoka has perfect defense, she recovers 15% health and protection whenever she attacks out of turn. At the start of each encounter, Ahsoka taunts for 2 turns. At the start of each of her turns, Ahsoka has offense equal to 35% of her defense until the start of her next turn. Whenever she uses a special ability, she gains 6% ultimate charge. And if all allies were Spectre at the start of battle, whenever an ally is dazed, they dispel it and gain 15 speed, stacking until the end of battle. No cap on that. And of course, the Galactic Legend is the second unique. Yeah.
That unique basically just like it's what do you call it? It's basically just saying I'm trying to balance this GL. Please, I promise, I'm trying to balance this GL. Perfect defense gives you 200% defense, which is why why she gains offense equal to her defense,
right?
Or why she has offense equal to her defense, and then she can't gain DI because do you know how really ridiculous that would be if she had DI as a tank?
Fair, yeah. With taunt, all that good stuff. Yeah. All right, so So the second unique is, of course, Galactic Legend. I don't think we need to go into that, but let's go ahead and get over to the basic. We'll wrap up her kit talking about the ultimate. So, basic, Aegis Charge, Zetas. Final text, deal physical damage to target enemy twice and dispel all buffs on them. Gain 5% bonus protection, stacking until the end of the encounter. If Ahsoka has perfect defense, increase its duration by 1. So this right here, I think, is going to be, underappreciated only at first. Is that unique saying that she has the 100% counter chance and taunt at the start of battle for 2 turns. I'm sure we'll see in the rest of her kit how she may renew her taunt. But having taunt, 100% counter chance, and dispel buffs on basic, and ramping the protection stacking, that's kind of just an extra gravy. That's amazing at the start of the fight. And I think it'll be a few turns before you have perfect defense on her. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the increasing its duration is, as Dagger just said, going to spike her damage. So I'm down for it. But this is a really cool combo, just between the unique and the basic.
Does JKR does that exclude GLs?
I'm sorry?
JKL, when they hit people with bonus protection, he reduces their max health.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That excludes because that is really nasty versus this.
I don't think it's ever been an exclusion to GLs.
I'm
I mean,
not
it'll
saying
have
there's a
to
lot
be
of
tested. We'll
application.
have to see. That's an
I'm
interesting
just saying
thought,
it's an
though.
interaction I'm curious about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're talking about maybe a JKR lead
JML.
team?
Like JML. Yeah.
But then, aren't you afraid of just getting destroyed by true damage for doing,
Look,
a turn meter based team?
Look. I'm not saying. I already said I don't know if it has actual applications.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Riven's lead doesn't work against raid bosses, which I'm pretty sure precludes GLs as
Probably.
well.
I guess that's
Oh,
the
never mind,
exclusion
never mind.
to raid bosses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Glad we ruled that out. Thank you, Fatal.
Yep. Sorry. Yep. Thanks, Fatal.
I like checked it back on Friday when she got revealed. And I think it's safe.
Oh, and there's one throwaway line I almost missed on this ability. The weakest other light side ally recovers 10% health and protection. Not bad. And it seems like it's small, but again, depending on how many times the enemy team has to hit her, this could be doing a whole bunch of things as she backslaps them. All right, first special, Shatter Strike. Zeta, cooldown of 4. Final text. Deal physical damage and inflict target enemy with 2 stacks of off balance until they are damaged by an attack, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted, and armor shred until the end of the battle. Light side allies recover 5% health and protection, doubled for Spectre allies. All right. Seems pretty straightforward.
Off balance is still a very mid debuff. I stand by that.
It's a mid. Remind me what it does again.
It removes 10% turn meter and like 10% max health.
Yeah.
It's as if Stagger and Expose had a baby.
Yeah.
It's synergy set up for General Syndulla lead, I believe. It's either General Syndulla, or not her lead, her unique. Whatever enemy units other team manipulated, random Spectre ally gains defense up and tenacity up, and then that plugs into Ahsoka Tano lead when buffs get dispelled, you get turn meter. And the thing I'm not sure on yet is, so if General Syndulla keeps on applying tenacity but defense up to allies, A, does it replace itself and immediately give you turn meter? B, if not, does it just stack invisibly and set up turn meter bombs?
Okay.
I agree that off balance itself is underwhelming, but now I understand why it's underwhelming is because the point kind of isn't the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a point to get the true defense, not to. The point is to enable the true defense consistently.
Yeah.
Through. Okay. No. That makes sense. I these kits are complex enough, and I've been on vacation to where I don't know what any of these kits do.
CG being sneaky.
Yeah. But that's actually super smart of CG to actually tie these kits together like that.
Mm-hmm.
It means Hera, more likely than not, is just going to be on this team in 3s as well for that same reason.
Fair. All right. Second special here. Defiant Resolve. Zeta, cooldown of 4. So 2 4-round cooldown abilities. All right. Final text. Ahsoka dispels all debuffs on herself and taunts for 2 turns. Dispel resilient defense from all allies. For each stack of resilient defense dispelled, Ahsoka gains 10% defense and mastery stacking until the end of the battle. It's actually potentially really good. If Ahsoka had defense up and tenacity up, she dispels them and gains perfect defense for 2 turns. If she already has perfect defense, increase its duration by 2. Sorry, you were going to say something, Dagger?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard somebody's mic you up. In a reasonable guess, it was you. Target other ally gains 25% turn meter, and if they are a Spectre, they also gain Morai's Wisdom if they didn't already have it until the end of the battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Morai's Wisdom is defined as plus 15 speed, take 10% less damage, take reduced damage from percentage health damage effects, and immune to turn meter reduction. So that is a lot. Okay. I'm pretty sure, I think I saw it in the new Datacron set. The Ahsoka level 9 kicks off the battle with all allies having Morai's wisdom. So that's
but for 2 turns. And actually, and I don't know, I know Fatal, you spent quite a bit of time experimenting with this. There was a question I had in reading the kits, in that I believe Ahsoka, the GL, when her second special is used to provide that Morai buff, it says if target ally did not already have that buff. With the Ahsoka level 9 Datacron, it provides that buff for 2 turns. So you can potentially, if red on its face, you prevent giving it perpetually, so giving it so that it lasts forever, because they have a 2-turn one at the beginning. So you can't get down a perma buff because you have a 2-turn one from the Datacron. Do you know if that's accurate, Fatal?
Yeah, weird you mentioned it, because I was just playing Arena Battle 2 minutes ago and realized that interaction and realized how fucking bad Ahsoka Tano 9 is, and I am...
That's what I was afraid of. Okay.
Oh, buddy, this team.
Yeah, I was already assuming that, but I think one point would be Datacrons. But
so wait,
I am excited for ATF.
So wait,
Fulcrum, here you come.
Well, yes, it is.
So
wait,
you're saying,
hold on, I just got back.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the Ahsoka level 9 is crap?
Actively bad.
It counters one another.
Here's the issue, and this I was afraid it might be the case, because that's how it read on his face, and Fatal has once again thoroughly figured out that's actually how it works. But the issue is,
hold on. So I had to go.
It's okay.
Deal with them for a couple minutes. You're saying that the buff she gives, she can't
the
give
Morai
it
buff,
if they already have it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a difference though in those 2 buffs. The Morai buff that's provided on the level 9 of the Datacron, it is at the start of battle for 2 turns. The Morai buff that is included within Ahsoka's kit is on her second special, and it's perpetual. It lasts until the end of battle. The issue is, in Ahsoka's kit, the perpetual buff is only given if target ally does not already have the Morai buff. Meaning that you have Ahsoka starting her match, on defense, presumably her first move is that second special, and it's to give the Morai buff to somebody. Oh, no, they're not going to get it because they already have this 2-turn buff. So they now lost the opportunity for a perma buff. That's the issue.
So now we're just going to go get the Sabine one?
No, ATF.
No, ATF if you can get
Fulcrum
it.
is enormous damage.
I haven't read ATF. What is ATF?
I'm a big fan of that one.
It's
that
like she gets bonus turns.
Yeah. This one's really good.
Yeah, it's like the Dengar effect, where anytime an enemy goes, she gets a bonus turn, and then she has 100% increased damage for that bonus turn. It's kind of dumb. It's crazy. Love it.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, back.
Thank you, Fatal, for checking on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's complete fucking garbage. By the way,
it is.
Fuck you, CG.
That is pretty ass, because I know, myself included, a bunch of folks who tried to make an effort to get, since you had Ahsoka here for this 3rd week, to try and get a Kron out of this new set 19, and for Ahsoka to actually be the Galactic Legends level 9, to be counter to the own interests of that specific team. Yeah, that's bad.
I'm only going to counter the point of everybody. Nobody else did want, and we did complain. So I think CG said hold our beer when it came to GLs having a Datacron. So they gave
having it not be GL overpowered is not that is fair, but it doesn't mean that we need to take something that actually degrades the power.
Yeah, there's a large gap between having Super Ray from set 1 and the 5% health and protection per amplifier level. On it, because remember when C had the 5% health and protection from the amplifier level thing, and that was really cool because he was just indestructible.
Yep.
But he still wasn't oppressive. Mm-hmm. There's a gap between your entire team dies if I get the ult, and hey, this GL works a little bit better.
Fair. All right, guys, last but not least, let's talk about her 2 ultimates. First Galactic Legend to be released with this kind of design.
Second ultimate is shit.
Very fair. All right, we'll see. We'll see how bad it is. Ultimate 1, Worlds Apart. Final text, requires 100% ultimate charge to activate. Ultimate charge. Ahsoka Tano gains 30% ultimate charge whenever an ally uses Reunite, 30% ultimate charge whenever Hu Yang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, 6% ultimate charge whenever she uses a special ability, and 6% ultimate charge whenever an ally with Morai's Wisdom uses a special ability. And remember, the unique, also is talking about how she gets fed additional ultimate charge. So in practice, this first ultimate ends up popping off almost immediately, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about circumstances in which that would not be true, but I think that's a fairly reasonable statement.
Really quick, the default I've been doing is make Ezra screaming fast, Ahsoka goes, Ezra removes exile from himself and Sabine, takes his bonus turn, passes turn meter back to Ahsoka, she ults.
Yep. That's it. That is
Boom.
literally the opening, and it's like you're there. Fastest ultimate I've ever seen.
And then
one
you
of the
can just
coolest
get on
looking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right, well, let's read through the rest of this then. So all this about how it charges and everything, blah, blah, blah. Now, reset the cooldown of all allies and set the cooldown of all enemies to their max, which can't be resisted. So this is just stage 1 ultimate. All right, Spectre allies recover 50% health and protection. Remove exile from a random ally and a random Spectre ally who didn't already have it gains Morai's Wisdom until the end of battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Ezra Bridger Exile gains 10 stacks of Purgle Migration. Target enemy is exiled for 2 turns, so that's something to be conscious of when you pop it. You want to have the right guy targeted. They're exiled for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. This ability transforms into Relentless Redoubt. Ultimate 2. Relentless Redoubt. Final text. Requires 50% ultimate charge to activate. And I want to say, it has activations at 50, 75, and 100. So let's take a look. All right, ultimate charge. Ahsoka Tano gains 30% ultimate charge whenever an ally uses Reunite, 30% charge whenever Hu Yang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, 6% ultimate charge whenever she uses a special, and 6% ultimate charge whenever an ally with Morai's Wisdom uses special. So that's the same charge condition as the first ultimate. The other strongest Spectre ally gains Deflective Ward, new effect, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented until the end of the encounter. Whenever an ally with Deflective Ward takes damage from an enemy, Deflective Ward expires, and the enemy who damaged them is inflicted with 2 stacks of off balance for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. And if they weren't stealthed, Deflective Target. Whenever Ahsoka uses an ability during her turn, Deflective Target is removed from the target enemy, and Ahsoka takes a bonus turn. If the target did not have Deflective Target, it is removed from all remaining enemies. Ahsoka can ignore taunt effects when targeting enemies with Deflective Target. Whenever Ahsoka is damaged by an enemy, at the end of that turn, she dispels Deflective Ward from a random ally. Okay, so that's a lot.
It's a lot of text to say that your opponents are already dead and this doesn't fucking matter.
This may well happen. That's true. All right, let's talk about the charge conditions. At 50% ultimate charge, if you pop it off, Ahsoka recovers 25% health and protection, and all light side allies gain 10% mastery until the end of battle. At 75% ultimate charge, Ahsoka recovers an additional 25% health and protection, and all light side allies gain an additional 20% mastery until the end of the battle. The strongest and weakest other Spectre ally who didn't already have it gain Deflective Ward, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented until the end of the encounter. Inflictability block target enemy for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. And then at 100% ultimate charge, Ahsoka recovers an additional 50% health and protection, grand total of 100 of each, and light side allies gain an additional 30% mastery. So what is that? Total of 60% mastery coming, okay? Jeez. Until the end of the battle, and all other Spectre allies who didn't already have it gain Deflective Ward, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented until the end of the encounter. And, of course, inflict ability block on target enemy for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. So it seems that, at the very minimum, you would want to be sure that you get at least the stage 2 of the ultimate off. Otherwise, you're not really generating Deflective Ward. You get 2 instances of it here, whereas you get the entire team having it with full charge. Deflective ward is defined as, so this is the one that goes on your allies, damage received is reduced to 1. That could be crazy. Deflective target. Ahsoka can ignore taunt effects to target this character and takes a bonus turn after using an ability while targeting this unit. Dispels if this character stealths. Okay. Yes, I see your windmill meme, TJ. Yes, it's
That's the Ahsoka GL. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Just
The
log
Bart
in.
Simpson windmill.
First off, the AI pulls the trigger on 50%.
Yes, always.
Yeah, so
Like-
that's
like sit
I'm
down.
glad you were the first one to say it, because that is the bad news, is that just like Slacker, the AI is dumb in how it would choose to pop off the ultimate, but unlike Slacker, there are conditions. You can have Red Trooper pop off in AoE, you could have a good reset with Fu and Hux. There are multiple ways where you can trigger Slacker to get all 3 charges of his full ultimate, even though his AI would happily pop off with just 1.
Yeah,
she's just as dumb. She's just as dumb AI-wise, but I don't think... I did a few battles yesterday, and I know Fatal could probably offer a lot more commentary on this, but I don't think there is any condition I could find that would cause her to gain enough charge after the first ultimate to get to the full charge of the second before she would pop off.
I haven't found.
I fought against her quite a few times, and I did see her get to full, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm so EMP scrambled by the big picture of her that her old charge was kind of the last thing I've been thinking about.
I just want to know.
I can tell you that she gets there. I don't entirely recall all of the means for her to get there. I know she gets old charge for her self casting. I know for Mirai's casting, probably for level 3.
I was throwing it
she,
in on
She
auto.
does manage to get there.
I know that AI for attacking and AI for defending can often behave differently. But for me, yesterday, I was putting it on auto on attack and just watching her again and again just take the soonest ult she could.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest, the AI will do that.
When I use this team on offense, I don't I fought against JMK and Leia and Jabba, and by the time I got to her full ult on her second ult, there was 2 people left.
Dagger, out of curiosity, what datacron did you use?
I was just using a health up level 3 with a Jedi stun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
I just want to know if Fatal works for CG. I just want to check on this.
I'm just saying Sabine and Ezra just do so much damage that I personally don't feel when I take the team on offense, I don't feel like anything could stand in this team's way. I feel like the team is just a juggernaut.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just laughing at the tree stump. That is, man. The Fatal called it so well, and I never saw it until you get there. She cannot, her weakness is that taunt effect. If you put a taunt effect on a character, you are stuck. And Fatal called this out, and I'm like, they'll be fine. And man, you go in there, and if you've got a thick tank,
also, really quick, her AI also goes after 5s. So if you go in there with gas and after gas sits, you just taunt with 5s, and they can't kill 5s. He just stands back up and kills their whole team. Gas stands up and does his AoE, and then kills 2 of them.
I feel like CG watches our show because Fatal kept saying, "I'm worried about taunt. I'm worried about taunt." I'm like, no, it's a GL to be good. But I told you, I put the Bart Simpson meme, and it feels literally like they had to put offense and some kind of damage in the team because. Personally, when you play the fight, it is a great showing of Ezra, and Fatal called this out. So again, I'm going to give blessings there. But also Sabine is such a monster, dude. She works so amazing, and it's so good. But it's you watch her fight, dude. She's using pool noodles.
Yeah.
It's not lightsabers. They
Yeah.
I
love you.
Yeah. It's pool noodles, dude. It's where are her sabers? I mean, she can cut through the ground, but you know she can't beat a tank. And she's not the damage on the team. She is resilient. I love the naming resilient because man, she is phenomenal at her pulls and holding it. But But Fatal, it's like they listened to you, right? And they listened to the show, and Fatal said, "Watch out for taunt." And they said, "That's a great idea. We should make it to where if it's even the thickest taunt, you will sit there for 5 minutes on that tank. You ain't doing shit."
Also, for what it's worth, any sticky taunt that she can't consistently just take off with her counterattack is just going to shit on the entire team.
And be careful if you...
Thankfully, the team has infinite damage, so that you just like GK was dead in like 4 moves against JMK, right? Like they make such quick work of everything. Just oh my god!
I will tell you, thank God the stun is going away for the level 6 on Jedi, because that is super annoying. If they stop your damage, they stop your team. So you just sit there. I have sat there where I've got the unlucky like stun side because the whole you got Master Qui-Gon or whatever in the thing, and I tried it, and it takes one unlucky stun, and all of a sudden your team is now just noodles. It's noodles being thrown at like a shield, and it's like we're not going to kill anybody, but if they don't, then yes, she's right. Man, Sabine will wipe your team. Ezra pummels your team, and that's why I said Dagger called step 1, step 2, step 3, hands down. I can't see it being any other way. But if they stun you,
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see just somebody posting a video of like JML 3-manning the 5-man team with the Jedi stun level 6.
Yeah,
because Coin just like perma stuns, like between Coin and Special. I can't wait to just see like Jedi Cal and like Hoda with JML just 3-manning Ahsoka because the entire team is stun locked. Just I'm not even like mad that Ahsoka seems very mid on defense at this point, because I almost want them to release 2 more GLs to have 11 so we can just save 11 GLs for offense. Let's just not play GAC ever again.
All right. Well, guys, before we close up this note on Ahsoka, any other tips you have for the folks about, for the very few folks that may have got this character here for here this last week? Any thoughts about, how you want to use her? I'm pretty much thinking that I've heard that she holds up pretty well to a decent number of things, but I know that Galactic Legend Leia can be an effective counter for her, although she's been so great on defense for many people this season, so I could see why that might be hard to give up. But
this is where we cue TJ. TJ, what are you? This is where we cue TJ.
Sure.
I want to see, but see, the one thing we're taking out of all of this, and I want to see it, is Ezra still Ezra, and I want to see what it does with all the Omis in place. The tie of her with him, and because it's not, to me, it really is a great showing of the team. It's the counterparts in the team. That's one thing that, I mean, if LV had something like this, I think a lot of people would have taken their BS about LV away, right? They built a team around her. Ezra is phenomenal. Fatal called it out. Everybody called it out, and everybody knows it. Ezra is the shit. Sabine, getting to see what Sabine does, and this is what I thought was going to happen. She is literally a team killer. She'll swipe, and then there goes your team. So it's like seeing the Omicron.
The worst part about Sabine is that I'm not even sure she's necessary on offense, because Ezra, like, Hera actually does good damage once she ramps a little bit. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this team is just a nuclear bomb waiting to explode all over your team. I had a different analogy, but it is far less PG-13.
Very good. Very good.
but yeah, it's...
All right. Well, good talk on that, guys. It's time to pivot.
Also, really quick, if you have her, slam her on defense, and the Omis probably mess with something.
That's my thought.
There's probably merit in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just put her down, pick up Leia, if your opponent has it. If your opponent doesn't have it, just enjoy your opponent trying to figure that puzzle out. And if they gas it, just be sad.
I would be extremely sad. Yes. All right, guys, we've made it to the end of the episode. It's time for takeaways and final thoughts. Right back around here to you, Dagger. What lessons have you learned from your hard-fought travails in week 2? What do you have? What nuggets of wisdom do you have to pass on to the folks at home?
I am now 4 for 4 using gas versus Ahsoka with ult.
Really?
Yeah.
Set 17 Jedi Stunkron, biased for defense or biased for armor penetration, crit damage?
Biased for defense. Biased for defense.
Okay.
I will record my next one because I've just been like just casually doing this to see if it works. And I will record my next one. That's my
Okay.
takeaway. This
And that's just usual gas 501st. There's no ETH cron shenanigans or anything like that, right?
no. I am not a fancy person. Somebody told me gas worked, and yes, gas works. I don't know what the consistency rate is. There's probably fail conditions, like Five's dying when he sits.
You look at something
But-
like a 58. What are you doing? What are you getting off of that?
61. I haven't had anybody die yet.
Real nice. Okay.
They just
I'm
target
into that.
fives. They just target fives, and if you save four, you just save form up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You let them sit gas, you save form up, you stand him up, and then he starts blowing people's backs out.
Okay. I'm into
They
it.
gain so many buffs. I did not realize how many tenacity ups and defense ups they gain. Like,
See, that's what makes me think. You and I were talking about this in the pre-show. Was the level 6 for the new set? I think the turn meter one. Like, when allies get turn meter whenever.
oh, remember that for my Fulcrum Cron.
Yeah, sure, fine, but the level 6 though. Yeah. Anyway,
sorry,
all right.
Ted.
Good point though. Thanks for discussing that. That is actually a really great tip. Using gas, I might rely on that. Okay, TJ, how about you? The same. Your lessons learned from week 2. What are you looking forward to? And your lesson. Your final word for the people at home.
A lot of it feels solved at this point. I think we all can agree. The counters feel pretty set. I think it's going to be what's on the back wall or something else that's going to offset what you're doing. But as far as what the defense is, it feels like we're pretty much in the stalemate. And then we're probably going to see our Ahsokas and folks try and gas like they did on Queen or whatever it's going to be. And then if somebody finds something funky, and then if you get to see the new Datacron for any of the whales that picks them up would be the other piece. So that it's not really going to be a lot. And I'm sad about my ships. That gamble was cool, but that's gone.
Fair. All right, good stuff. Sasha Aisha, you sir, your lessons learned from week 2 and your final thoughts for the people.
Yeah, I guess maybe not as much reflected in my matches, but from what I was hearing and watching generally was that it felt like we were starting to drift, as we often do from week to week within a particular season, towards much more efficiency. And I'm really glad that we're introducing, sprinkling a new Datacron set for those that were really aggressive. And then, biggest splash by far is the new GL. So I think it's going to have a lot of uncertainty going into this week. Like we're talking about people trying to calibrate around counters for Ahsoka. So it makes me excited for this week. The downside, though, is I know at some point, maybe it'll be this week, at some point, I'm going to face somebody who's held 9 GLs, and that is going to cause a little bit of me to die inside, but so be it. I will add one more real positive thing for the game. I just took a look. We record this a little after lock, and I just took a look in at my GAC bracket. And for the first time that I can recall, we have 8 legitimate competitive players in the top bracket.
I saw your bracket,
wow.
dude. Arsenal showed me your bracket, dude.
That has to be the first time since
phenomenal.
like January or something.
Yeah.
Dude.
Now, it's not a product of them having fixed the Erodium ranking bug, but instead it's a matter of the Erodiums that are up there, because I think it's actually...
It's the thing of all-stars, dude. I have to tell you, I wish if you could show it, Sasha, and pull to compare, the people in the bracket are amazing. It is a rock star lineup.
It's a great group, but again, it's a product actually of the Erodiums that are still ranked too high, just not signing up for GAC.
Good.
So it's like, once again, it's not CG having fixed the bug. It's just it being screwed up enough that they had people up in the top 8 to 12 to I think actually the top 15 that cared so little about this mode of game that they didn't even sign up. But yeah, I will take a picture right now of. Yeah, here we go. All right, I'll put this in the channel there so you can show this when you get a sec task. But
We'll
it
pull it right
is. Yeah, let me get to the group. Yeah,
I don't know
so
when
that
we'll
should be-
ever see this again. It's that type of setup.
Yeah,
Also,
so-
really quick, regarding Ahsoka, Queen Amidala works because they can't rip the taunt off of the summon.
Yeah. They
Pretty
can
much
burn
everything.
through it pretty damn quick, though. Sorry. what's the
Yeah,
title?
but in GAC, if she pre-taunts and then resummons it, it's like, haha.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Anyway,
is a
I'm looking at
great
another
bracket.
title.
Wow, this is a great bracket. Well, congratulations. This is going to be some real sweat.
And Cass was like, I don't have to fight any one of those fuckers, so I feel good.
I fought a bunch of these people. It's
I mean, this
these
week.
are going to be good
this week,
fights.
Cass, you know what I meant. You know what
Yeah.
I meant, asshole.
Yeah.
Fatal,
like-
what were you saying?
I was just being snarky, saying the team probably dies the trench for similar reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not being able to get out from behind the taunt.
Damn. Damn.
Wouldn't that be a kick in
Wait a
the
minute,
teeth
they
if it
don't
lost
have,
to Trent and TW?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, just...
Because they don't necessarily hit super hard right out of the gate, and other than Ahsoka and the Mirai's wisdom, they don't. I get Mirai's buff. I think is reduced percent health effects, because the one thing that would break my heart would be seeing some Jawa counters out there. But
Sure.
yeah, can't imagine that. I mean, no GLs that counter is sort of dead on the get go, but perhaps you can bleed them of a character or two.
The one thing I will say about this team is that it seems relatively immune to a cooldown pull, which I think is kind of cool.
Okay, that is a nice thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They have relatively short cooldowns, and their cooldowns are not necessarily indicative of their power. So, for example, if you force Ezra to... If you do a cooldown pull, oh no, Ezra has to use his big hit first.
Well, and also if they're any level, like if they're any level of preloaded on that next attempt, let's say you achieve whatever you're thinking you're doing with a cooldown pull, that first ultimate stage comes so fast, and then if there's any type of turn meter in there, it'll be there that much faster, and then that's when you have the AoE all of your cooldowns set to max. So what are you gonna do now?
And their team gets reset.
Right, yeah. So not a hot idea. This gas thing
Yeah.
is pretty good though. I like that. All right. No, thank you for that, Sasha. That was a good bit there. All right, Fatal.
Yeah, that bracket also is terrifying, yet I'll bet it's going to be a ton of fun for you, man.
It can't be terrifying. I bet you've been waiting all year. I bet you're like a kid at the candy shop right now. No fear, only joy.
I will come back with a grin on my face, reporting an 0-3 week. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. You're the kid that's coming
I'll
in
dish out
from
some
like
bumps and bruises, too.
like playing rough on the playground. You're covered in scratches and bruises, but you had a good time.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember that when I was a kid, right? My mom would watch us go outside with broom handles and play Power Rangers. We'd come inside like bruised, bloody, and dirty, and her first question wasn't, "Are you okay?" It's, "Did you have fun?"
Yeah.
All right. So yes, turning to Fatal then. Your final thoughts, your lessons learned from week 2. What do you have for the people, the folks at home?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This feels very similar to like when Bo-Katan Mandalore came out, and it was like kind of feeling a little bit rug pulled. I just feel like the Spectre squad is in a pretty weak state right now, and it's a little bit frustrating because I was kind of enjoying a lot of the puzzle pieces leading up to it, but yeah, some of it's more solvable than others. Like I don't really expect it to be resolved before the new year, if ever. Probably not ever, but like I posted up like a bug report of all the issues with the AI. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm sure the Fulcrum 9 will be pretty decent. Maybe that'll be defense postable, but that's like Fulcrum isn't even normally in that team anyway. It's like it would be defensive success literally, but not by the team's own means. It's just Fulcrum using the lead and the Harry unique to just like kind of go a little bit nuts.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Would you be dropping Sabine for her? Because I don't know if it's Sabine or Hu Yang that you'd probably be dropping.
Hu Yang provides the quest. I really doubt you use it. But also, for those who don't know, Hu Yang is literally the only person in the squad who uses Reunite.
Who uses what? Sorry?
Reunite.
Oh, Reunite. Really? Oh, man, so he's indispensable.
Every other person in the squad will prioritize their specials over
Their own
Reunite.
specials, yeah.
That's fucking awful.
That is dumb. Man,
And then
CG,
also-
fix your shit.
So, I kept quiet during the Ahsoka Tano segment because you guys were like, man, this character's awesome. I'm foreshadowing
These things
GK,
did
and
look
I'm
good.
like,
They looked good. They looked good.
On offense, I'm just saying the team on offense is an absolute nuclear bomb exploding in the other team's face.
see, I haven't even experienced that either. Like, you say you're foreshadowing at GK, and I'm over here struggling to kill a
Dude,
Renegade GK.
all I know, that's what I'm saying. All I know is that if you stun your Sabine, you lose a lot of what you're needing, and then if they mess with your Ezra, which it feels like he has a high priority target for the AI. At least it feels that way. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But once those two go away, you're tree stumped. So
I'm straight up losing some fights to like a JMK Plocron against like mediocre quality teams.
Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
Sorry to hear that.
I don't know. I mean, no, it's the whole. Sorry, what were you saying?
Granted, I have an R9 floor, so I mean, like that might be part of the difference.
An R9 who?
I mean,
You
R9
say all
floor.
R9, all everybody's
Yeah,
R9.
my whole team's R9s. That might be part of the reason why.
My Sabine and my Ezra are R9.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the JMK teams I'm fighting are like there's like one R8 on the team, and it's generally like the gas.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
the point of the point isn't necessarily a squad arena. It's that
Oh,
holy shit, this team has major issues. Like fighting against Leia, and like the moment that they smoke screen Leia is just checkmate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not trying to like do too much here, but yeah, it's this
No,
team
you're
is not
right.
really at the caliber that I was hoping. I also haven't told you all, for those who didn't know, that the squad will use Reunite on people who don't have Exile, and I think they possibly might also be self-casting it. So you might be thinking, whoa, Ahsoka Tano gets ultimate immediately, and I'm here to tell you, there's a 40% chance that she won't. So if you want to optimize the team, you have to make Hu Yang weakest, because Ahsoka gives Mirage to the weakest. So if you want fast ult, yeah, it's got to be Mirage the weakest, and it has to be Hu Yang, and then you go gambling on whether or not she
I
passes.
hate this planet.
That
Well,
is so dumb. I hate it.
It is great that
That's
this is after
awful.
lock. Thanks, Fatal.
This is the ultra
Well, yeah,
premium new flagship team. What are we doing here, CG?
So here's what I'll say. Because I've spent some time sitting with this, and much like when Bo-Katan released, I was disappointed for a while, and then like a day or two, I absorbed it in and kind of learned to live with it. Which is, when Leia Organa came out, CG told us, "Hey, we think this character is really kind of designed to shine more on offense." And I think if you actually grade CG on usually how Leia performs over the last year, at least for me and GAC, dog, I never hold her. She just sits there. And so, in a weird way, especially with the AI issues right now, which like the AI issues do seem solvable, but I don't know if CG wants to or cares to, because I think when you look at Ahsoka's kit, there are so many guardrails that got added. I think CG tested this team, and I think it was strong, and so I think they kept on adding guardrails. Right? Ahsoka Tano's second ultimate does literally nothing, because they added that clause, which is like, hey, if you hit Ahsoka Tano, everyone loses their defensive ward. And like so many fights yesterday, it's like, boom, I popped a level 3 ult, Jabba basic gets it done, JMK with like his ult on gets it done, Leia basic gets it done. That it's like,
But immediately when you start reading to it, it's that second off is just ass.
I didn't think about it, but that feels so correct that they said, "Oh, this is a little bit. Let's notch this back. Here's a little bit. Let's notch this back." That feels very accurate when actually using. Yeah.
So here's where I'm sitting with the team right now. If I'm talking actual close enough, I'm not trying to take too long here, but anyway, I do think she feels weak, but this also kind of feels like the Leia Organa that we were promised. That like this is a team that very clearly benefits from player hands, and I do think the defense AI could be better. But if that's where it sits, then like kinda so be it. The bones of the team are extremely fun to play and think about. Read like the whole interaction between like, man, off balance kind of sucks. Well, off balance isn't really the point. It's actually like ping ponging these 3 other effects. That's like kind of fucking cool. It's just. Yeah, it's a little bit tragic to be in this spot of... Yeah, it seemed like it was this build-up to some big new release, the most expensive GL. She's got 2 ultimates. And then, yeah, like her buttons do nothing. Pretty much all of her power budget is on her lead and her unique and her first ult. That, yeah, I like. Is the game better off for her being here? Sure, but it's not quite.
But if you walk into her punches, she's gonna walk forward, as Bart Simpson has told you.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk into them.
Oh yeah, no, for real. Like Ahsoka, the entire like you mentioned the power budget, and like that's a better phrase than better verbiage than I was going to use, because I was going to say the entire power of Ahsoka's kit to me feels like you alter for the first time and you unlock Ezra and Sabine, and then you ride those two to victory. And Ahsoka kind of potatoes there, taking as many of the hits as possible, while literally anybody but her wins you the fight, just because she ults on turn 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's good to know that there's a 40% chance it doesn't happen anyway.
That makes me so sad. Like that makes me so sad. Like and angry. Like I'm not even wanting CG to have like perfect AI. Like that's never something I really wanted.
Right.
But I do want to have like non-disgusting, like just
When they revealed the kit on Friday, the way I kind of elevator pitched it is, imagine Darth Vader, and then imagine if when he used Merciless Massacre, he didn't take a bonus turn, and then they added a clause that was like, if you don't hit Darth Vader before he takes his next turn, he's gonna get you. And it's like, I mean, look, man, Vader on defense doesn't use Merciless Massacre first, but when it pops, you have to hold them. And so, yeah, it's kind of just like, man, I mean, like CG in the post jokingly called it merciful massacre, but that's exactly what it feels like. Because do you have stealth? Are you gonna hit the tank? By the way, the tank also taunts sometimes. So like, I was using her on offense, and the AI was being tutorialized into countering the stacks because she was taunting, and they were like, "Well, I'm just gonna hit you with the taunt." Mm-hmm. Anyway, all of this to say, yeah, I don't know.
You don't have to. You don't have to couch anything in anything. I'll tell you. You are well within your rights to be disappointed that the new flagship faction that they've been building for a quarter plus, is underwhelming on defense. And I do take your point that some of these GLs have to be better intended to be used in the hands of the player. I'm okay with this being one, and I just wish that making that true didn't require making so many characters on that team dumb, including the GL herself. So I'm with you. I think we're all on the same page here. We're within our rights to be a little.
Honestly, I think when Fatal mentioned the Bo thing, I immediately had this like knee-jerk reaction to she's not as bad as Bo, and then like I thought about it for a second, it's like, no, she's not as bad as Bo. But the fact that she is like a tier above Bo is like almost the problem, because I think her initial release slots her in somewhere like 6 to 8 of the 9 GLs. Right? She slots in as a bottom half and possibly bottom third GL, because her AI is complete fucking trash. And on offense, so what if you can beat everything on offense? Like, most GLs can beat everything on offense.
Fair. Yeah. All right, Fatal, before we go ahead and I go ahead and wrap this up, as the only other content creator on the show, where can the people find you?
Yeah, twitch.tv/Facebook TV. Yeah, I'm definitely good. I think now that we're kind of in the doldrum season and the Big Bang kind of went off, I'm just going to try to focus on GEC ranks, especially people are getting normal brackets again. That sounds fucking lovely. But,
encouraging.
I will need to do my best to not get bored and throw during 5 rounds and try to like get my rank all the way back up.
Yes. Keep the faith. And we'll find out next week how this went for you. All right, for my own part, my own lessons learned. So, I'm trying to test things out most of the time, especially on that bottom front wall. I want to see if I can maybe get a value by trying a offbeat or even less reliable counter. And that's all neat week 1, week 2 stuff. Week 3, it has to be perfection. I've only got a couple legitimate matchups this week because I do have a pocket of Erodiums, unfortunately. But I'm gonna get through it, and I just have to, do stuff like keep Riva. I've been setting Riva, and I've wanted to see if I could, exploit that in somebody, and it really just hasn't panned out. So I'll take advantage of the fact that I had placed her, and maybe some opponents will expect her, but she probably won't be there. That kind of thing. But it's got to be all perfect attacks for me, because that's the type of opponents I'm used to fighting, where the margin of victory is less than a drop a lot of the time. So that's kind of my lesson learned, is like, okay, enough with the risks. Know what works and stick with what works, and let's be good about that. Oh, and also, of course, no Gungans on defense this week, I think, is going to be kind of a hard and fast rule for me. Yeah, that's about it. I think the final thought is on Ahsoka. Everybody else has pretty much hit it, so we'll see what ends up proving out, and we'll have a lot to talk about that next week. Of course, just wrapping up here, if you're a fan of my stream regularly, then you know that you can find me on twitch.tv/Tassinix. Of course, if you're watching this podcast and you're already aware that it's out there on Spotify, Google Podcasts, of course, that's getting repeated back on over to my YouTube, Tassinix Gaming, where you can find VODs of my previous streams with chapters added for easy browsing, in addition to a bunch of other Swugger-related content that I think you'll be interested in. First, of course, would be the Datacron set guides on set 17, which is outgoing now, and set 18, and now we have set 19 coming around, just around the corner. It's already in-game right now, but most people aren't willing to get a couple of them very early on. Nevertheless, I record that with Aesop Rock, #1 Grand Arena player in the game. We'll probably be getting together tomorrow to make that video, so look for that in the near future. I've also got my mod guide videos on characters and factions that you have requested, my recent GAC Omicron tier ranking video, a whole bunch of other stuff, all there on my YouTube, so check that out. And of course, if you've enjoyed the show, you enjoy my stream, you want to support what I'm doing here, I do have a Cash App that you guys request. I made that. That is $Tassinix. And of course, if you want to get something back, join my community, get some benefits to increase your scouting capabilities, and some, benefits of joining the inner circle, you'll have to check out my Patreon. Patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. $5 a month gets you in to the TAS House at VIP access level, where you get early access to the Plotting and Scheming podcast, coming out to the public on Friday mornings, 8 a.m. My patrons are usually getting it Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, depending on how cooperative YouTube is being. In addition, you also get early access to the Datacron set videos, and of course a dedicated text and voice channel on Discord, where you can usually find me lurking. Pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to Andrew, Arj, Deadpool Cow 28, JJ's Productions Twitch, Jobin4527, Johnny B. Ottawa, Miasmal, Moose Ross, Rays Malbus, Sam Vimes, Squed, Stark Strategy Gamer, Sweens14, White Wolf, and Zoltre. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier, VIP Access Plus. This is a Patreon bundle to me and to OmegaBot. So if you watch my streams at the start of each one, I have an OmegaBot report on my opponent. It gives a powerful, at-a-glance sense of what your opponent's about offensively and defensively. Patrons get to pull greater than just the last 2 weeks of their opponent's history to make the report. You also get a downloadable version of the report with links that you can click to go right back into swugga.gg or Insight, get details on the counters you're interested in. Thank you so much to Stryker, Esh Satnakam, and Dobby. At VIP Access Premium, this is $15 a month for the DoubleBot bundle. So patron access to me, to OmegaBot, and to Hot Utils, the #1 tool for your mass mod management and loadout creation. Couple clicks, you can move between Raid, Grand Arena, TB, TW, save a bunch of time, remod your whole roster like Fatal and TJ like to do, slice through all of your mods, help with your scouting. Cool functions for TW too. But thank you so much to Duckstab, Dark Hug, Ibenek, General Milan, Sir Boss, Quig, Wilco, and Frick Frack Paddywhack. At the top of the heap, in Jester's Club Elite, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper. This man will pop into stream from time to time and go gangbusters. Just drop hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies. Incredible support over the years. Thank you so much, my man. And of course, last but never least, our special thanks. First to Yoda Force, one of my original supporters back in the day, bought me the mic that I am yapping to you on right now, and even though he has long since quit the game, we wish him well from the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all of the good works you do in the background, keeping our daughter from utterly destroying my home whenever I'm, not actually available to police her destructive actions while I'm trying to be halfway decent at a phone game. And of course, to my co-hosts right here on Plotting and Scheming, to Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, as we head into the holiday season, we're always thinking about what we've enjoyed, what we've been grateful for. And I am grateful to you guys that you're here week in, week out to make our show. I learn a lot from you guys. I'd like to think we all learn a good bit from each other. Our viewers certainly learn from us. I don't know if all of you saw my post in Discord today, but let me just rattle off some details to you. Where did I announce it? There it is, right there. This podcast, just from Spotify alone, I got some analytics from Spotify saying that Plotting and Scheming is within the top 15% of all video podcasts on Spotify. 48 of the followers of the show put this show in the top 5 of all the podcasts they watch. 10 folks have us as their number 1 podcast, and the average rating for our show, gentlemen, 5 out of 5 stars. That is average, okay? That's what we're about out here, and I can't tell you guys how grateful I am that you are part of this winning recipe. Thank you guys so much. All right, and we close out this week. It's been a lot of fun. I think we have a well-oiled machine as we say goodbye to set 17 here, so get your use out of it while you still can. We'll catch you next week to wrap up the season, and until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.